Namaste and welcome to the deep dive. Today we're diving deep into uh, something really fundamental to India, the fundamental rights in our constitution. Think of this like your quick guide to the backbone of our freedoms and protections.
Yeah, we've got this foundational document with us laying out these rights, these basic freedoms and safeguards for, each and every person in India. Part 3 of the Constitution, it's not just for individual growth, but for our whole democratic setup.
Okay, so these rights are all about equality, dignity, and liberty, right? So each person can, live with respect and reach their full potential.
Exactly. And what's really key is they're justiciable. If you feel like any of these rights are violated, you can go to the courts. It's a shield against the state, balancing individual rights and, the good of society.
That's powerful. It's like a direct line of defense. And these ideas, they come from justice, equality, freedom, even the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So today we're going to pull out the most important parts of these rights for you. We want to make this, potentially dense topic really clear and engaging.
Great. So let's jump right in. First up, the right to equality, Articles 14 to 18.
So Article 14 is about equality before the law and equal protection of laws. This applies to everyone, within India's borders.
Right. So no one is above the law and everyone's treated equally. Then Article 15, prohibition of discrimination based on religion, race, caste, sex, place of birth. And this covers so many aspects of life.
Yes, Article 15 is significant. It prevents unfair treatment, across life. No disadvantage just because of who you are or where you're from. It's about addressing those historical inequalities.
Absolutely. Article 16 is about equality of opportunity in public employment, so fair chances at government jobs.
Yeah, public service shouldn't be about discrimination, but about merit. It's crucial for a just society, where people progress based on their ability.
Then Article 17, abolition of untouchability in any form. This one is so historically and socially important.
It is. It's very direct. It doesn't just discourage, it abolishes it. Deep commitment to social justice and dignity for all, aiming to end this deeply discriminatory practice.
And last in this category, Article 18, abolition of titles. Except for military or academic ones, what was the thinking behind this one?
It was about preventing these hierarchies in society, fostering equality, no hereditary titles, only those based on merit. It reinforces this idea of equal status for everyone.
That makes sense. Okay, so that's right to equality, ensuring everyone's equal under the law and dismantling discrimination. Now, on to the right to freedom, Articles 19 to 22. These are some crucial liberties.
Right. Article 19, it's a big one, guarantees 6 freedoms.
Wow, 6. Let's hear them. First, freedom of speech and expression, the cornerstone of any democracy.
Absolutely. Vital for public discourse, debate, and diverse viewpoints. But, like all rights, it has reasonable restrictions like national security or public order, and even those restrictions are, reviewed by the courts.
Good point. What's next?
Freedom to assemble peacefully without arms. So people can come together, express opinions, even protest. A vital part of democracy as long as it's peaceful.
Makes sense. Then freedom to form associations or unions, coming together for a common goal.
Yes, collective action, forming civil society groups. They represent interests and push for change, socially and politically.
Okay, fourth, freedom to move freely throughout the territory of India, emphasizing the unity of India.
Exactly. No internal barriers, promoting national integration. Free movement and interaction between states and regions.
And freedom to reside and settle in any part of the territory of India. So not just travel, but make a home.
Reinforcing that idea of one India where you can choose where to live. It's subject to some reasonable restrictions, of course, like public health.
And finally, the sixth, freedom. Freedom to practice any profession or to carry on any occupation, trade, or business. Economic liberty.
Yes, personal autonomy and economic empowerment. Choose your work within the legal framework, of course.
A lot packed into one article. Now, Article 20, protection in respect of conviction for offenses. Important legal principles here.
Very important. Safeguards for the accused. First, no ex post facto loss. You can't be punished for something that wasn't a crime when you did it.
That's fair. So you know the rules of the game. What else?
No double jeopardy. Can't be punished twice for the same offense. Once it's done, it's done. No harassment for the same thing over and over.
Right. And the third one?
Protection against self-incrimination. The right to remain silent. You can't be forced to give evidence against yourself.
Very important. Article 21, protection of life and personal liberty. This feels very broad.
It is. You can't be deprived of life or liberty except by law. but it's become much more than just existing. The Supreme Court has said it's about dignity, privacy, a healthy environment. It's really about well-being. Like in the Maneka Gandhi case, the procedure must be just and fair.
So quality of life matters. Okay, last one in Right to Freedom, Article 22, protection against arbitrary arrest and detention, building on that idea of fair treatment.
Yes, laying down rights for those arrested or detained, right to know why you're arrested, right to a lawyer, right to be brought before a magistrate within 24 hours. It's about preventing unlawful detention.
Okay, so right to freedom is all about those core liberties, with safeguards against the state. Now, the right against exploitation, Articles 23 and 24, about preventing unfair treatment.
Yes. Article 23, prohibition of traffic in human beings and forced labor. Protecting human dignity and preventing exploitation, especially of the vulnerable. No buying and selling of people, no forced work without fair pay.
Such a fundamental protection. And Article 24, prohibition of employment of children in factories, etc.
Yeah, no children under 14 in hazardous work. Protecting their well-being, their future. No dangerous work that could hurt them or keep them from education and a childhood.
These two articles are really powerful about human dignity and preventing exploitation. Let's move on to the right to freedom of religion, Articles 25 to 28.
Article 25 guarantees freedom of conscience and free profession, practice, and propagation of religion. This is about the secular state, individual liberty. Choose your belief, practice it, share it peacefully.
Freedom to believe and freedom to act on those beliefs. Article 26, freedom to manage religious affairs. What does that include?
This allows religious groups to establish and maintain their institutions, manage their affairs, own property, basically autonomy to run their affairs without the state interfering.
So they can organize according to their beliefs. Article 27, freedom as to payment of taxes for promotion of any particular religion. Again, the secular nature of the state.
Exactly. No one can be forced to pay taxes that go towards promoting any one religion. The state has to be neutral, and you shouldn't have to fund a religion you don't follow.
And finally, Article 28, freedom as to attendance at religious instruction or religious worship in certain educational institutions.
Yes, state-funded schools can't force anyone to take part in religious instruction or worship. Secular education, respecting everyone's freedom of religion.
So, freedom to choose and practice your faith, and a secular state. Now, on to cultural and educational rights, Articles 29 and 30, protecting minorities.
Article 29, protection of interests of minorities.
Yeah.
Anyone with a distinct language, script, or culture has the right to conserve it. It's vital in a diverse country like India that these groups can keep their identities.
Absolutely crucial. And Article 30, right of minorities to establish and administer educational institutions.
Yes, giving minorities, whether religious or linguistic, the right to set up their own schools. This way they can, not just preserve their culture, but provide education that aligns with their values.
Really important for a diverse society. Now, the most crucial right, the right to constitutional remedies, Article 32, the one that really makes the other rights work.
You're right. Article 32 is the heart and soul of fundamental rights, considered by many to be the most important. It gives everyone the right to go directly to the Supreme Court to enforce their rights. If any of your rights are violated, you can go to the top court for a solution.
That's powerful. So how does the Supreme Court do that? Our understanding says it's about writs.
Yes. The Supreme Court can issue 5 kinds of writs. First, habeas corpus, meaning to have the body. It's about bringing a detained person before the court to see if their detention is legal, a safeguard against unlawful imprisonment.
So a check on the state's power. What's the next writ?
Mandamus, an order from a higher court to a lower court or government authority to perform a duty they're legally obligated to do but haven't.
Making sure they do their job. What's the third one?
Prohibition. A higher court tells a lower court to stop a case that's outside its jurisdiction. So the higher court says, you don't have the power to decide this.
Keeping the courts within their boundaries. The fourth.
Quo warranto, meaning by what authority. It's to see if someone holding a public office is legally entitled to it. Can be used to remove someone not qualified.
Ensuring only the right people hold those positions. And the last writ.
Certiorari. A higher court asks a lower court to send the record of a case so it can review the decision. The higher court can then overturn the decision if it finds a legal error.
So Article 32, with these writs, really makes the fundamental rights enforceable. It's not just words. It's the bedrock of freedom and equality, providing a way to get justice.
You're exactly right. Without it, all those rights wouldn't have much meaning. It empowers citizens to seek justice when their rights are violated.
Well, this has been a really insightful deep dive into the fundamental rights. It's clear they are crucial to our democracy, protecting freedom and ensuring equality for all.
Yes, and remember, they are justiciable, a powerful tool for citizens.
As we end this deep dive, I want to encourage you, our listener, to think about which right is most important to you. How do these rights shape our society? And maybe even think about situations where these rights are challenged, where they need protection. Understanding these rights is the first step to truly appreciating and upholding them. Thank you for joining us.